The lawyer slid the key across the table, and suddenly, no one in my family was breathing. Have you ever felt like one single moment could rewrite your entire life? Because that's exactly what this felt like. I was sitting there, hands cold, heart pounding, staring at a small, antique box placed right in front of me. Dark wood, scratched edges, a tiny brass lock that had somehow held more power over my life than I realized. My name is Amara Nkomo. I'm 26 years old, and up until that moment, I thought I knew who I was. But the way my uncle avoided my eyes, the way my aunt clenched her jaw, the way the family lawyer kept glancing at that box like it was a loaded weapon, something was very, very wrong. This wasn't just a family meeting. It wasn't just about my late grandfather's estate. This was about me. And the worst part? I already knew the box wasn't normal because 3 months earlier at my grandfather's funeral, my estranged Aunt Celeste had pressed it into my hands like it was urgent, like it was dangerous. She didn't smile, she didn't explain, she just leaned in close and whispered something that hasn't left my mind since. This will explain what your mother did. What your mother did. Not who she was, not what happened to her, what she did. And then she walked away. No calls, no messages, gone. You have to understand, my mother died when I was 10, and growing up, no one ever told me the full story, just fragments, vague words like accident and complicated. Every time I asked questions, the room would go quiet. Every single time. So I kept the box hidden, locked away in my closet like it might explode if I touched it. I almost opened it a dozen times, but something always stopped me. Fear, maybe, or instinct, because deep down, I think I knew. Once I opened it, there was no going back. And now? Now I didn't have a choice. The lawyer cleared his throat and said, "Amara, for us to proceed, you need to open the box." Proceed with what? That's when I noticed the folder in front of him. My name printed on it, and underneath it, one word: verification. My stomach dropped. I picked up the key, and in that moment, I realized something that made my chest tighten. I thought this box would explain my mother's past, but what if it was about to erase my future? The first time I asked about my mother, my uncle told me to stop digging. That should have been my first warning, but when you're a kid, you don't question silence, you adapt to it. I was 10 when my mother, Elise Nkomo, died. One day she was there, the next she wasn't. And just like that, my entire world shifted. I moved into my grandfather's house, surrounded by relatives who all seemed to agree on one thing: don't talk about her. At first, I thought they were protecting me, but as I got older, it didn't feel like protection anymore. It felt like avoidance. Have you ever noticed how people act when they're hiding something? The way conversations stop when you walk in, the way answers feel rehearsed? That was my entire childhood. My grandfather, Henri Nkono, raised me. He was kind, structured, and quiet. He never spoke badly about my mother, but he never really spoke about her at all. And then there was my uncle, Victor. Victor Nkomo, 55, always in control, always watching. He handled everything: finances, property, family decisions. If something needed to be approved, it went through him. Even me. Especially me. Looking back, there were moments that didn't make sense, like the time I found an old photo album and asked why my mother had pictures with people I didn't recognize. Victor took it from my hands and said, "Those aren't important." Or the day I asked how she died, and he replied, "An accident," and then walked out before I could ask anything else. No details, no explanation, just shut doors. And Aunt Celeste? She was the opposite of Victor: distant, unpredictable, the difficult one everyone avoided. I barely saw her growing up, and when I did, she always looked like she wanted to say something, but never did. Until the funeral. That's what makes this worse. because now everything feels connected. The box, the silence, the way Victor kept glancing at me during the meeting like I was a problem he needed to solve. And then there's the letter. 2 days before this meeting, I received a formal notice. No emotion, no explanation, just a time, a date, and a subject line that didn't sit right with me. Inheritance clarification. Clarification? What needed to be clarified? I was his only granddaughter, his only direct heir. So why did it feel like I had to prove something? That's when it hit me. This wasn't about money. This wasn't even about my grandfather. This was about whether I truly belonged in this family at all. And suddenly, that locked box in front of me didn't feel like a memory anymore. It felt like evidence. "We need proof," the lawyer said, and just like that, my entire life turned into a question mark. Proof? Proof of what? I remember blinking, thinking I misheard him, but no one corrected him. No one even reacted. They just sat there, quiet, waiting for me. Have you ever felt like you walked into a room and suddenly realized everyone already knows something you don't? That's exactly what this was. Mr. Laurent adjusted his glasses, his voice calm but heavy. "Amara, for us to proceed, you need to verify your identity." Concerns? The word echoed in my head like a warning siren. I turned to Uncle Victor. "What concerns?" He didn't answer right away, just leaned back slightly, arms crossed, like he had been preparing for this moment. Finally, he said, "We just want clarity, that's all." Clarity. Funny how people use soft words to cover hard truths. My chest tightened. Clarity about what? And then the lawyer said it. "Your identity." Silence. Thick, suffocating silence. I felt something inside me drop, like the ground beneath my feet had just cracked open. My identity? What was that even supposed to mean? I looked around the room. No one defended me. No one said, "This is ridiculous." Instead, they avoided my eyes. Except Victor. He was watching me closely. Too closely. That's when the lawyer continued. "There are inconsistencies in the family records surrounding your birth. Your grandfather was aware of them. He requested that, if necessary, the contents of that box be used to clarify the truth." My eyes slowly moved to the box. So this wasn't random. This was planned. Months ago, when Aunt Celeste handed it to me, she already knew this moment would come, which means she knew something no one else wanted me to know. My heart started racing faster, because now there were only 2 possibilities. Either the box proves I am exactly who I've always believed I am, or it proves I'm not. And if I'm not, what happens then? Do I lose everything? My name? My place in this family? My entire past? "Amara," the lawyer said gently, "we can't proceed until the box is opened." Before I could respond, Victor leaned forward slightly. "Think carefully," he said lowly. "Some things, once revealed, can't be undone." That wasn't concern. That was a warning. And that's when I knew, whatever was in this box, he didn't want me to see it. My hands stopped shaking. Slowly, I reached forward and picked up the key. Because in that moment, fear didn't matter anymore. Truth did. I aligned the key with the lock, paused, took a breath, and thought, whatever happens next, there's no going back. I pushed the key in and turned it. The lock clicked, and my uncle shot to his feet so fast his chair slammed against the floor. That sound, it cut through the room like a gunshot. Every head turned toward Victor. His face had changed. Not anger, not shock. Panic. Raw, uncontrolled panic. "Wait," he snapped, stepping forward. "We should review the contents privately." Privately? After everything? The lawyer didn't even hesitate. That won't be necessary. This is a formal proceeding. Victor froze. And for the first time in my life, he didn't look in control. I swallowed, my fingers tightening around the edge of the box. This was it. Slowly, I lifted the lid. Inside, everything was neatly arranged. Too neatly, like someone had prepared this moment down to the smallest detail. They were documents, old, yellowed papers stacked carefully. A small USB drive, several handwritten letters tied together with a thin ribbon, and one sealed envelope. My name written across it in a familiar, elegant handwriting. My heart skipped. My mother's. I didn't touch it, not yet. Instead, the lawyer gestured to the documents. Let's begin there. I handed them over, my hands colder than before, but steadier. He scanned the first page, and then his expression changed. Subtly, but enough. What is it? I asked. He didn't answer me. He looked at Victor. Would you like to explain this? Victor didn't move, didn't speak, didn't even blink. The lawyer turned the document toward the room. These are financial records, offshore accounts, transfers made over several years under multiple aliases. A pause. And all of them trace back to you, Mr. Victor Nkomo. The room erupted. Voices, questions, disbelief. But I couldn't hear any of it. Because suddenly, everything started connecting. The secrecy, the control, the silence. It wasn't about protecting me. It was about protecting him. There's more, the lawyer continued, plugging the USB into his laptop. A video appeared on the screen. Grainy, slightly distorted, but unmistakable. It was my mother. Alive. Speaking directly into the camera. If anything happens to me, she said, her voice steady but urgent, this recording must be shown. Victor has been stealing from the family for years. I have the evidence, and I'm not staying silent anymore. My breath caught. The room went dead quiet. She knew, I whispered. She knew everything. And then it hit me. My mother wasn't complicated. She was dangerous. To him. But there was still one piece of the truth that hadn't been revealed. I slowly reached for the final envelope, the one with my name on it, because whatever was inside wasn't just about my mother anymore. It was about me. My hands were shaking again, but this time I didn't stop. I broke the seal, slowly, carefully, like I was afraid the truth inside might disappear if I moved too fast. Inside the envelope, there were only two things: a letter and a document. I unfolded the letter first. The handwriting was unmistakable. My mother's. Amara, if you're reading this, it means I didn't get the chance to explain everything myself. My chest tightened. I know they will try to confuse you, maybe even turn you against me, but you deserve the truth. I swallowed hard and kept reading. Victor has been stealing from this family for years. I discovered it by accident. When I confronted him, he warned me to stay quiet. I refused. I started gathering evidence, everything you're about to see. I closed my eyes for a second. She knew. She knew everything. And then I need to understand something more personal, something they may use to question who you are. My fingers tightened around the paper. And that's when I unfolded the second document, a DNA test result. Official. Signed. Sealed. I scanned it once. Then again, just to be sure. My voice came out barely above a whisper. I'm still her daughter. The lawyer nodded gently. Yes, you are Elise Nkomo's biological child. Relief hit me, but it didn't last long, because there was more. The man you were told was your father, the lawyer continued,
is not biologically related to you. Silence. Heavy. Final. My heart pounded, but I forced myself to keep listening. Your biological father, he added, was a colleague of your mother's. According to these documents, he was working with her to expose Victor's financial crimes. Everything clicked into place. My mother wasn't hiding shame. She was protecting a mission. Protecting me. And then it all came crashing down at once. The grief, the anger, the truth. Tears blurred my vision, but I didn't look away, because for the first time in my life, nothing was hidden anymore. Across the room, Victor tried to speak, but it was too late. The lawyer had already made the call. Within hours, everything changed. An official investigation was opened. Victor's accounts were frozen. By the end of the week, he was formally charged with fraud, embezzlement, and obstruction. The family? They fractured. Some apologized, some disappeared, some refused to accept it. But I didn't chase any of them, because I finally understood something that took me 26 years to learn. The truth doesn't destroy you, it frees you. I kept the box, not as a reminder of betrayal, but as proof of who my mother really was, and who I am because of her. I walked into that room afraid of losing everything, but I walked out with something I never had before: the truth. And this time, no one could take that away from me.